Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving into Call Me By No Name, the very new and highly anticipated Japanese Yuri live action. And wow, it is already delivering a layered psychological take on relationships and identity. Due to the constraint that it is only airing on Gaga Ulala, I will be reviewing it with short clips. That's okay, because this review will then focus on the thematic and the cinematic brilliance of this episode. So let's break it all down together. Let's start with the heart of the episode, the psychological depth of Megumi and Kotoha. Megumi's empathy and curiosity are full on display as she tried to understand Kotoha, even when faced with her enigmatic and often guarded behavior. Her refusal to accept Kotoha's repayment sets the tone for their dynamic, built on mutual respect and boundaries. Kotoha's guardedness and playful defense mechanism, like the name-guessing game, are her way of maintaining control while cautiously letting Megumi in. Their complementary traits, Megumi's patience and Kotoha's wit, create a dynamic that is both tender and charged. Their shared vulnerability, Megumi's inexperience and Kotoha's trauma, sets the foundation for a story about trust, healing, and emotional growth. So the very first scene that we see is the garbage scene. So this scene, set amidst a garbage dump, is where Megumi and Kotoha's first encounter happen, thus the beginning of their journey together. The setting itself is quite symbolic because this space is often associated with abandonment and rejection, which actually mirrors Kotoha's state of mind. She's lying among discarded items, and this reflects how she perceives herself as someone broken and discarded. Visually, the contrast between the neon-lit surroundings and Kotoha's slumped posture is striking. It creates an almost cinematic tension that highlights her vulnerability. And then there's Megumi's inner monologue. To call that the beginning of love, it was far too uncomfortable to be that. I knew I shouldn't take that hand. I had a bad feeling. If I did, there would be no turning back. This line adds an air of foreboding while hinting at the weight of the bond that is about to form. Kotoha's reaction to Megumi taking her hand is not one of shock nor gratitude, but of quiet confidence, as if this is not an unfamiliar scenario for her. Her subtle smile suggests she feels in control of the situation, clashing with Megumi's inner conflict voiced in her monologue. Megumi is questioning whether she should meddle in Kotoha's life, while Kotoha seems entirely at ease, playing into her enigmatic nature. This moment encapsulates the thematic tension of the episode, the contrast between Kotoha's outward composure and Megumi's inward questioning. It sets the stage for their dynamic, where acts of kindness and emotional exploration challenge both of their perceptions of control and vulnerability. Now about the painful scene of refusal and its layers. One of the most pivotal moments in this episode is when Kotoha tries to make love to Megumi while she's half asleep. Megumi wakes up in emotional distress and firmly refuses. This moment stands out for its psychological, cultural, and narrative implications. So this scene begins with Kotoha initiating an intimate act, revealing her misguided belief that physicality might serve as a transactional way to repay kindness or secure connection. Megumi's immediate reaction, startled and defensive, shows her strong moral stance and respect for consent, even under vulnerable circumstances. Psychologically, this scene reveals Kotoha's internal struggle. Her immediate response, "Do you think they will take us seriously if we say it's between two women?" highlights her deep-seated fears about being dismissed and invalidated. Culturally, this line also speaks volume about societal attitude in Japan towards same-sex relationships. Historically, lesbian relationships have often been erased or trivialized, making Kotoha's doubt tragically realistic. It's a poignant reminder of the systemic challenges LGBTQ+ individuals face in being taken, even in moments of violation or vulnerability. To me, it's also a reflection of her own trauma, her need for validation, and her confusion about her own worth. But the moment when Megumi grabs Kotoha's wrists and physically reverses their positions is striking. Not only does this shift the power dynamic, but it also symbolizes Megumi taking control of the situation to uphold boundaries. Kotoha's expression in this moment, a close-up of her face showing vulnerability, confusion, and a lack of comprehension, reveals a deeper layer of her character. She is confronted with a very unfamiliar dynamic. Someone refusing to take advantage of her and still choosing to care for her. Like, her brain must have been. This clash of emotions, Megumi's resolve and Kotoha's vulnerability, underscores the narrative's central theme of building trust. Megumi's response not only establishes her moral strength, but also challenges Kotoha's transactional view of relationships. This scene sets the foundation for their evolving bond, built on mutual respect rather than obligation or guilt. Narratively, this scene foreshadows the ongoing exploration of power dynamic and boundaries between Megumi and Kotoha. Megumi's steadfast reaction not only establishes her moral strength, but also set the stage for a relationship built on mutual respect, whereas Kotoha's reaction hints at her need to unlearn unhealthy patterns of seeking connection through either guilt or obligation. To me, it seems that it might as well be a first indicator of the nature of Kotoha's impossible closure of traumatic past. So now we are talking about the last scene that is to me very important. That's why I would like to dedicate a moment. It's the sealing the name guessing game with a kiss. So we can't leave it out because obviously it is a strong moment and a significant one for their relationship and the beginning of their journey. So we are going to try to break down why it's significant. First, it mirrors the earlier scene of refusal where Megumi firmly set boundaries before. Here, she willingly steps into a vulnerable and intimate space, showing her growing awareness and curiosity about Kotoha. Megumi's openness in asking Kotoha for guidance on love matters, whether it is for the kiss or about what lovers do, highlights her inexperience, but also her authenticity. She isn't ashamed at all of her naivety. Instead, she uses it as a bridge to connect to Kotoha, which is truly brilliant. This willingness to learn and explore is not just about understanding Kotoha, but also about understanding herself and her feelings. Whereas for Kotoha, this scene represents another layer of her complexity. By initiating the kiss, she retains control of the narrative, while simultaneously testing Megumi's sincerity. Her playful demeanor hides deeper fears about trust and connection, but her willingness to engage in this moment hints that she might be starting to see herself as more than just an object in Megumi's care. It's a very small tentative step toward acknowledging her humanity and her right to be loved. So this pivotal last scene encapsulates the central tension in their dynamic. We have vulnerability on one side versus control on the other side. We have sincerity on one side versus fear on the other side. It beautifully sets the stage for the emotional depth and challenges their relationship will explore. Now, we have to talk about the cinematography. It is truly outstanding. I know you hear me say that a lot, but 24 minutes of this efficiency in terms of cinematography is absolutely outstanding. You know what? The night shot with the neon colors creating a dreamlike yet intimate atmosphere, the contrast between dim lit interiors and vibrant exteriors emphasizes the emotional state and duality of the characters. And it is so interesting. There is so many things that I could pick, but I choose several. The attention on detail with the close-up for subtle acting is, oh my god. We have Kotoha's vulnerable expression after the refusal scene, where you can clearly see that these close-ups highlight the intricacies of their emotions, pulling the audience deeper into their psychological states. Also, the lighting subtly shifts to cast shadows that mirrors their inner conflicts, particularly in scenes of power struggle and resolution as well. And the second things I've decided to talk about, even though we could talk way more, is the use of color. It is very striking in this episode. Megumi is always associated with warm tones. She has a lot of yellows, oranges, reds, pinks, and to me it seems that it is symbolizing her empathetic and grounded nature, whereas Kotoha, in contrast, is framed with a lot of cooler tones. So we have blues and purples and grays, and to me it seems that it reflects her, let's say, guarded, enigmatic persona. And this visual dichotomy not only underscores their personalities, but it also hints at how they complement each other, like two opposing forces striving for balance. Also, the framing and composition are very worth mentioning, For instance, in the garbage dump scene, the neon lighting creates an almost surreal environment, emphasizing Kotoha's detachment and Megumi's hesitance. For instance, we see that Megumi has a lot of red on her, which is often the color of danger, and she is not sure whether she should have given her hand. So yes. Similarly, in the apartment scene, the tight framing of their interactions enhances the intensity of their emotional exchanges. So overall, the cinematography doesn't just enhance the visual appeal, even though it's a very strong part of the aesthetic, but it actually really becomes a storytelling tool that deepens our understanding of the characters. So from the lighting to the color symbolism, every element works in harmony to elevate the narrative's emotional and psychological complexity. So where do we go from here? So I think episode 2 will focus on how Megumi and Kotoha begin deepening their bond and whether they can let their walls down for the sake of trust. We might see Megumi's interest in Kotoha solidify into a real romantic attraction, as suggesting by the last interaction after the kiss. That's saying that she will be moving beyond curiosity. And for Kotoha, the emphasis could be on what clues she chooses to reveal about herself and whether she starts to see herself as a person deserving of care and love rather than an object defined by her transactional perception of any interaction with people. And this would be the incidence of how Megumi's righteous attitude towards her is shaping her new mind. In any case, their evolving dynamic promises to bring even more emotional complexity to the story. So here for it. Now, episode 1 was a stunning introduction to Megumi and Kotoha's world. The cinematography, the psychological depth, and the layered storytelling have me completely hooked. So I want to hear about you now. What did you think of the use of color to reflect their personalities? Let me know in the comment. What are your speculations for episode 2? I'm really curious about that. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy enjoyed this review. Let me know about the new format, because maybe I can do more like this without being flagged, because recently I've lost monetization and I really need, for the sake of this channel and the future prospects and evolution of it, to get it back. So don't hesitate to help me out with that. And I thank you so much as always for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. I love you.